Oh, oh, we're on. I'm on. Sorry, folks. Welcome to Time to Be Reasonable. I guess I didn't have a plan in place. I didn't think about the how things would work, and that's what I want to talk about tonight. I want to talk about uh, a couple different. We have two topics tonight, and both of them really revolve around that. So the first thing I was going to say is I personally have been involved in a lot of associated students organizations as well as clubs, and so I have both put together rules and bills and that type of thing, and also put together events, projects. Basically, I've been involved in a lot of things where there has to be a way in which to make something happen. And so that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. Is basically a lot of times, actually, the reality is laws are designed so that they have a large scope. Well, not. Hmm, I should say bills. Bills that become laws have a large scope. In that, basically, they're rules or ideas or concepts or propositions that say that this needs to happen within these timelines. But what they aren't usually is, and this is how this will be done. That's not generally what it is. And the thing is with like a city council or something like that, a lot of times it's like, well, this is the rule. Just make that happen. The problem with that is execution is kind of important, and that's what we're definitely want to discuss tonight. There's a lot of different I won't say fallacies because but there's a lot of different mistakes being made currently. Well, not mistakes. How do I say this? I guess no foresight or looking in or trying to figure out exactly how something would work. See, one of the biggest flaws with the way that people tend to operate is, or well, like, and I mean like the citizenry, not even the Congress or governments, but the citizenry will say, "Hey, I don't like this. This is a problem. So therefore, there ought to be a law." The problem is the execution of that law. I'll give you an example that we're not actually talking about today, but I saw there was I can't remember if it was a proposition or what type of rule of law it was, but there was a piece of legislation that was going to that made it against the law, I think a misdemeanor, to smoke in front of your kid in the car because they have no choice and secondhand smoke. And while I understand all of the reasoning, the problem is that the enforcement. There's the enforcement. There's how is somebody going to how is somebody going to make sure that, I mean, unless the police officer happens to be driving by you, when are they going to notice that you're smoking in your car in front of your kid? Also, there's redundancy. If you look at it, there are laws that say you cannot endanger a child, and that's definable by the court system, by police, all kinds of things. It's totally possible for a police officer to stop you and ticket you for that already, for child endangerment, if they so choose. And some people might think it's trumped up, but at the same time, they're clearly not the people that think that this law is trumped up. So then, I'm just saying, was no reason to put another law on the books for that. But when I was talking to people, they were like, no, 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 no. This should just happen because my dad died of cancer. And interestingly enough, my dad died of cancer. And the thing is that doesn't change that a law like that is unexecutable, because the problem is that if people do not believe in doing something, you cannot legislate that. You cannot legislate morality. You cannot make people be and act in a moral and ethical way. You can't do that. It doesn't work. Not if you don't want your prisons to be overcrowded or to have, rebellions on your hands. That's my thoughts on that. And I don't want to segue. I kind of almost feel like segueing into some other grounds, but we're not going to do that tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about two different things. Firstly, I was going to talk about lawnmowers, and always open to any kind of chat. So if anybody wants to come on, say something, you're welcome to. I'm definitely going to listen. Let's see if okay. And yeah, I'm definitely going to listen, and I think that there's a lot, that someone could say. All right, first, I was going to talk about lawnmowers, and I don't know what the bill is, but it was just passed. It's kind of like like a lot of the bills that have happened, specifically concerning the environment. It was signed into law. Basically, one of the things that it talks about is that small CC motors, i.e., lawnmower motors, will not products with said will not be sold in California for starting in 2022. And when I read an article, it pretty much said that it's probably about 2024 because of I think it's 2022 that they would start that, and then after that, electric generators would be affected by that because of people needing the electric generators. So it'd be a while before they could stop the sale of those. Obviously, so basically that means that having a lawnmower. And here's the thing: there's a couple things that's kind of strange with this. One is there's no rule saying that you cannot have a lawnmower. It says you cannot buy a lawnmower, at least right now. So that's interesting. The other thing is that electric lawnmowers are not very good. I know I had one, or actually, I'll be honest, I had one in 2000, which I'm sure they've gotten much better. And I'm sure that the ones that they're using now are probably much better lawnmower. However, One thing that strikes me about it, actually, let's check here because I'm curious. Let's check on the price of a professional electric lawnmower. There we go. This would also apply to leaf blowers. Okay, so looking here, it looks like there's one that's 80-volt cordless, 350 plus, 160 plus the Sanjo Pro, Greenworks and the Dr. Pulse battery, 640, 520. And let's see here, which is best? Best overall is the Greenworks Pro 80V 21-inch cordless. So that'd be this one right here, which is $520. And then so then we look at that versus a professional lawnmower. Interesting that the electric is still there. Let's see. Oh, no, it changed. What lawnmower do professionals use? The Craftsman M105 push mower. Let's see how much that bad boy is. Control copy. I'm just curious because I think that's one thing is like, what is the difference in price? And like it's the environment is what a lot of yeah. So that is 259. So it's double the price. So I think a lot of people will be like, yeah, but they're loud, they're noisy, it's good for the environment. What's the problem? And the reality is there's a what are they supposed to do if they have this thing that they have, this extra investment? Another thing that I've noticed is that lawn care professionals are not treated sometimes the best. So, what are they supposed to do if their electricity runs out on their lawnmower? Because that's a thing that could happen. And we know that, a lot of times, places like that, they don't tend to let people in to plug their lawnmower. They don't let people plug their lawnmower in, or, you know, they're like, oh, that's your thing, just worry about it, and the amount of money that somebody has to spend on their lawnmower and then trying to get it to charge. And also, this is a sales, so they're selling these lawnmowers, or they're saying that you can't sell lawnmowers in California, although you could easily get them from out of state. Like, I could see Vegas having lawnmower clearances. Also, I think that they're going to be in the system for a lot longer than you might want. I mean, I still see at garage sales those little push mowers from the 1940s or whatever, that have absolutely they have no carbon footprint, which is cool, but it's also because they have no motor because they are old, which a lot of people buy for that purpose. And I've actually looked at them, for possibility of buying that. But still, in all, also, of course, the Lawnmower Association was against the passing of this bill. And then it's a question of, okay, cool. So like people talk about, we want the police, or we don't, we want the police to, be helping in our areas and stuff, and not causing problems. But so we're going to have who's going to go around and police all of to make sure that, no one is getting sold a a gas mower? I mean, I just, like, if you think about the logistics of some of this, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. So now, let me segue into hamburgers. Hamburgers have been a huge issue, and it's really weird. A friend of mine put up an article, and I read the article, and like on top of the article was like this thing that's backlash from the right that says, we're going to support In-N-Out because In-N-Out, is an American tradition in America, and we're gonna support them. And then under the post was like, basically, In-N-Out sucks, and I would rather go to the Habit anyway, and just all this nastiness underneath the In-N-Out thing. And I was a little bit, I gotta say, it affected me, and I even posted about that because it was the same type of backlash that I got in September, when I made like some social media mistakes, basically. People called me all kinds of names, pretty much said that I could die, and that I was nothing but a dumpster fire, and all kinds of fun things. So it resonated with me seeing that kind of thing on Facebook. But at the same time, I know that like the whole In-N-Out thing's kind of weird too, because I actually read the article that he posted. I'm not sure he did, to be honest, but I read the article, and the article basically said that in San Francisco there was a specific In-N-Out that when they passed the COVID regulations, and which said that you had to ask for proof of vaccination or proof of positive COVID testing. That was the policies that had been set forth. And basically what happened is a checker came by and noticed that, hey, you're not following the policies. And rather than comply, they shut down. And then the business director for In-N-Out of either that area or of In-N-Out, but In-N-Out doesn't seem to be doing this across the board yet. They said, hey, our loyalties are to our customers, and we're not going to police this. That's not our job. We're a hamburger chain, basically. Which to me isn't that far online. They are a hamburger chain. And the reality is I think it is way too much to ask an 18-year-old to police people. I worked as a professional guard in kind of the bad part of Hollywood on Sunset and trying to remember. I know it was Sunset and anyway, up there by the LA Children's Hospital at the Vons there. And there were people there that sometimes threatened me with bodily harm all the time. And it wasn't just, it was everybody involved, really. It was kind of bad. And I still wouldn't, I approached people and told them to not do certain things because that's the job of a guard. Now, the reality of that is that as a guard, you're actually not supposed to you're not supposed to touch anybody unless they get physically forceful or threatening or something along those lines. So The idea of having a young, like basically a teenager who got an in and out job have to go, excuse me, sir, but do you have a passport or do you have a vaccine paper? Because if not, then you have to leave. Okay, cool. How do you enforce that? And keep in mind, the police have said they will not, most police have said they will not enforce. So, what is this kid supposed to do? What is this kid supposed to do when people that are rabid about this, and yes, I'm putting this on both sides of the line because that's the reasonable thing. That yes, there are people that, they're saying, oh yeah, well, this just has to happen. We don't care. Well, no, there are certain things to consider. And one of the things to consider is the rabidity of the morons who refuse to get vaccinated. I said it. I meant it. I'll say it again. The morons that refuse to get vaccinated. If there's a reason, that's one thing. And even then, it's still, what are you going to do? If there's somebody that is actually not been vaccinated because of faith, then what is a guy behind the counter in and out supposed to do about that? Like, let that sink in. What is the guy at the in and out counter supposed to do when there's a guy that says, I won't get vaccinated because that's against my faith? I don't know why I won't get tested. I don't know. But I know that when you have people that don't want to do something and you do not have the authority to make to have those people do those things, what are you supposed to do? It's like, yes, in and out, just make it happen. So I understand, and not just going, yeah, you know what? We're just going to go drive through, and we're just not going to open our dining room because it's just not going to work. We can't do this. So when the government came up with this, they should have come up with something. If you're going to come up with a plan, if you're going to say this is what has to happen, then you have to have a plan of execution or some logistics, because you can't just expect people to just make this happen. There's got to be a way to make this happen. And it's like, okay, I read in the same article that there's trainers that, they retrain people, like, this is how you do this. This is how I do what? Okay, I say, okay, you need this and you need this, so you have to go. And if they don't go, then what? See, we're still talking about guns. We're talking about force. How do you make somebody who doesn't want to do something do something? And how do you do that if you're in and out? I mean, the habit's so tasty. So if it was the habit, then then you'd be okay. I don't know. But I'm just saying, I mean, like, explain it to me. Explain to me how that is supposed to happen, and explain why it is the responsibility of a company to police their customers when it is not safe and opens them up to lawsuits and harm of their employees. And by the way, the whole idea is so that people aren't harmed. That's the whole reason that you're saying, hey, get vaccinated so people don't get hurt. People get hurt when people get into people's faces. Now, the ultimate solve would be people acting reasonably and getting vaccinated and caring for their human for their fellow human being, or getting vaccinated just because they care about their family. Or just, you know, or going, oh, hey, that you know, I just, I don't know, I could be carrying a disease, and so I should probably cover my mouth. Like, I have a question. Like, after this whole thing is over, are they gonna cover their mouths? Is that the end of that? But oh, Bob, you should really cover your mouth when you sneeze. Don't tell me how to live. I see the menace on both sides. I see that the government didn't have a plan for this. And I see that ultimately the answer is going to be probably a self imposed shutdown by the companies. Because if not, then what is the government going to do? Are they going to hire guards, or is In and Out going to hire guards to check the information? And these guards are going to be like, I don't know what, because they've actually got to move, somehow get the people to leave. I mean, yeah, I mean, you're not supposed to. I guess there are certain types of guards that will do that. They will get physical, even though you're not supposed to get physical. There were people like that worked in my company that would, you know, rouse someone up when we were told not to do it, and they'll be fine until they're not fine. The both companies will let it happen until such time as somebody reports it, and then you're on your own. Do we want police officers to show up to In and Out and check this stuff and kick people? I mean, most of the police departments have said they won't do that, but I mean, do we want them to do that? I guess if the police won't do it, then what? Are we going to military? I'm just trying to figure out the logistics of this whole thing, because the logistics just aren't really well thought out. It's like what the end result is make that guy get vaccinated even though he doesn't want to. And when I heard that at first, I said, oh, I guess we're at a quandary, because we cannot, because we're America, make people get vaccinated, because that is a line. It'd be nice if they did this thing, but they're not going to. Anyway, this is the end of the show, and I guess piss poor planning provides piss poor results. Have a great night, everybody. I guess I'll talk a little bit. Maybe this time in Len, maybe it won't. Who knows? Little side content. Hmm. The thing is I really do want to see a real result, like a real answer. Like if somebody had a real way of doing this, I would be interested. But I don't know what to do. I don't know. It's frustrating. It's frustrating on both sides, because it's like, what are you going to do? Grab him, football tackle him, and give him his shot? And how much damage are you willing to do to that guy in order to have your freedoms? I don't know. It's difficult, and this part of the show is being brought to you by the broadcast not ending. which is really strange. I wonder if I just closed it, if that would end it. Like I would think, right? I'm going to try. I'm going to do it one more time, and then I'm just going to close the broadcast. Anyway, thanks for putting up with me. tpublic.com/stores/gamingfix, GAMING -FIXX. See you next week.